Hello and welcome to another episode of the EnVisioneering Exchange, the podcast where industry leaders discuss the most important topics in building and urban efficiency. I'm your host, John Sheff, Danfoss's Director of Public and Industry Affairs. You can subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever it is you get your podcasts. And I am thrilled today to be joined by Michael Kellerman, Danfoss's Director of Electronic Controls and Digital Services. Michael and I are going to be discussing food monitoring, food quality, and the Danfoss Alsense platform. So really important topics, especially as we head into 2022. Michael, thanks for joining us. Please tell us a bit about yourself and about your role here at Danfoss.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me today. So as you mentioned, I'm with our electronic controls and digital services business of Danfoss. And then in my role, I'm really focused on the North American market and helping bring those products and services to our customers here in North America, and working very closely with our North American Danfoss team. So my background has been a number of years in HVAC, refrigeration, food service, and really a passion for this, bringing the technology together with a lot of the traditional services that we offer today. So an exciting area for me to play a part in.
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on. We just talked to Peter D about the changing refrigerant landscape in food retail. So we know that there's a ton going on in the industry. And we also know, that the pandemic's going on, the way that people shop, the way that food retail industry is organizing is changing. So I think food quality and monitoring is even more important. Kind of explain to us what Alsense is and how it helps with this process of monitoring and food quality.
Quite simply, Alsense is Danfoss's IoT cloud solution that's been developed to really help customers protect, monitor, and improve food quality at really a high level. But if we take a step back, Danfoss has actually been in the business of monitoring supermarkets on a global basis for back to the early 2000s. So a rich history in doing this and working with customers. And today we have over 1 million connected devices that we monitor and probably process over 2 million alarms on a monthly basis. So really building on that information that we are collecting from customers and helping them run their operations. And with Alsense coming along, now we can leverage that information and put that in a form that is shareable across the customer stakeholders and provide visualization and predictive services that really allow them to take their game to another level in driving food quality, operational efficiency, energy savings in their operations.
And yeah, the Danfoss Food Retail Monitoring Center in our Baltimore office is really incredible. And just 24/7, all the data coming in there. It is really an impressive operation, and just something I don't think that normal consumers really understand what's going on in terms of how their food is being protected and all the work that goes into it. Now, explain Alsense, and does this replace the Danfoss controls for refrigeration, HVAC, and lighting that have been in place, as you mentioned, for a long time?
So it doesn't replace it. We still need those, but what it really does is complement that. So if you think about it, the controls that are in place, whether it's for a refrigeration rack, a cold room, a reach-in device, a supervisory control like our system manager, those are performing very critical functions for that particular asset or application. But while they're doing that, they are actually collecting a lot of useful data, temperature being one, pressures another one, and other parameters. So as you mentioned with our call center, a lot of that information we have as Danfoss. We can share reports, how we do it today, but this now allows us all with our customers to leverage all that data that those controllers are collecting and really use that to many different benefits we'll talk about today, I'm sure.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, all this is being uploaded and stored in the cloud. I mean, what are the advantages of keeping that food quality data, store equipment data in the cloud?
Yeah, great question. Maybe if we start with the analogy of a smart thermostat. Many of us have those at home or maybe have recently gotten one. And if you think about that, right, just being connected and having that connected to your phone where you can see it is powerful. And then on top of that, if you do have a temperature setting that's maybe too warm or too cold, you can immediately see where that's at and actually change it if you want, and then probably go talk to your kids of why they changed the thermostat. But what that does is that that simple analogy that we're enjoying at home is really available on a broader enterprise level for a supermarket, and tremendous value to be unleashed. So I guess maybe three advantages I'll point out that among the many. One being that, as we talked about previously, is that data and that information is available now to anyone in the supermarket enterprise. So that may be the local store, it may be a field office, it could be the operations teams at a corporate location, and even the refrigeration contractors that may be in-house or contracted. Anyone can have access to this information. And it's been developed to be available on a PC, tablet, or even a phone for that matter. So availability of that information is number one. Number two then allows us to layer the services that we can bring, including what we call visualization, stabilization, predictive diagnosing, and predictive maintenance. So a lot of those services we'll talk about a little bit really add that next level of value to our customer set. And that's really around driving energy efficiency, improving food quality, and other operational efficiencies. And then I guess the last one to talk about is really scalability and security. So we're real excited that we have partnered with Microsoft and built Alsense on Microsoft's cloud technologies. And so what that does for our customers is really two things. It puts us in a position that we can rapidly scale, change, expand with our customer set using some of the latest industry technologies. And then on the security side, which is increasingly important to our customers, is we're employing the latest security technologies in Alsense as well. So both of those are a tremendous advantage in how we built Alsense. And then lastly, I do want to make a comment that it's not all about the cloud. So there's a lot of technology companies, cloud sounds exciting, but really what we're doing is we're building on Danfoss's long history of intimately understanding our customers, of that monitoring activity we talked about earlier, and then really knowing their application, refrigeration, HVAC, building management, and building on that into the solutions and the services that we provide through Alsense. So you're getting that total package with Danfoss.
And yeah, for the record, it's my wife who changes the thermostat. So that's great. You're putting out all this information, all this data, and you're designing it in a platform and in a way that these customers can actually use it. What are they using it for, and how are they driving value for their organization?
Yeah, great question. So one of the things we find, and I think in any situation, the more data you get, what happens is you start to look at that and ask different questions. So that's number one. We see our customers starting to ask different questions they wouldn't ask before. And then that leads to new ideas, new areas to focus, ways to improve your operation, and really becomes a catalyst that allows them to improve and take their organization to the next level. So some examples of that we're seeing with our customers, and I'll use some of those category words we talk about. Stabilize, which again allows our customers through our alarms dashboard, for example, to really focus in on what assets or what sites need the most attention, the outliers, as you would call it, so they can quickly dive in and know where to deploy contractors or resource to stabilize their operations. So we have a service called Health Alarms Dashboard that does that. Another one called Health Check that helps with the status of their controllers. Another way we see customers seeing value is what we call in the diagnose and recommend area. For example, we have a service called TQI, or Total Temperature Quality. And what that does is allow our customers to quickly see what devices have been operating out of their desired ranges. So for example, a food case that's been operating 80% of its time out of temperature at a high temperature. It quickly allows our customers to identify those devices and then take actions to improve or diagnose that or repair that if that's the situation. And then lastly, what we see under our recommend bucket is that predictive maintenance kind of things that we talk about, or that buzzword that's out there. So we have a service, for example, called Compressor Insights that really provides predictive information about how compressors are operating or maybe failing. Another one, Energy Insights, performance scorecards. We have a service called Set Point Verification, where customers are able to get automatic alerts, like we talked about with the thermostat, that their devices are not inside the set points. And it sounds very trivial, but that happens quite a bit across multiple hundreds or thousands of stores, where somebody has changed the set point from where it's optimally been operating, and nobody knows that. And nobody will probably find that out unless somebody kind of stumbles across it. So with this type of service, set point verification, customers get those alerts automatically across thousands of stores and thousands of devices in those stores. Very powerful. So just a few ways there, John, on how customers are leveraging Alsense.
Yeah, there's a lot of information there, and the key is to make it digestible and actionable. You mentioned some of these buzzwords, predictive maintenance, for example. Can you help us make sense of some of these industry buzzwords that we're hearing relative to what you're doing with Alsense?
We could go very deep there, but we won't for today. Quite simply, Alsense is kind of all of that. And simply put, those controllers we talked about earlier, collecting that information, and then we talked about visualizing that through Alsense and being able to see that. And then those predictive insights, predictive maintenance, and the terms you hear, artificial intelligence, machine learning, are the levels behind that we're really driving some of those actionable insights. And so some of those actionable insights are manual. Those are things we can see or get alerted, and then we can decide to take action. And then some of those predictive insights can be automated, could be automatic as you move forward. So we really employ a number of different artificial intelligence technologies. It may be something simple like rules, algorithms. There are things called neural networks that are continuous learning algorithms that are used as well. And so it's really a developing and exciting area where we also continue to learn from our customers and together with them develop more and more services that add value to them.
Yeah, I think it's such an exciting platform and an exciting technology, particularly now when engineering teams are getting smaller, when facilities management, those teams are getting smaller. Having a tool like this is really powerful for some of these food retailers. As we wrap up here, how does somebody get started with Alsense? What does that process look like?
Best way probably is to reach out to your account representative, and we would love to bring our team in and talk with you. Another way is just to reach out to the Danfoss website. There's a lot of content there around Alsense, and you can get in contact with us that way as well. But really it comes down to let's get with you and let's talk about your particular operation, because everything is a little bit different, and talk to you about how we can help you. And Alsense can help improve your organization as well.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's such a powerful tool and really timely for 2022 and all the changes going on in the food retail industry. Well, Michael, thank you so much for joining us. Any final thoughts?
Just that this is really an exciting area, trying to be calm but also passionate about it. There's a tremendous amount of value that we can unlock for our customers. We're excited about our partnership with Microsoft and really the way that we can help customers deliver exceptional value as we continue to move forward in this landscape and economy.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Well, thanks so much. And that's it for this episode of the EnVisioneering Exchange. Again, I'd like to thank my guest, Michael Kellerman, Danfoss's Director of Business Development for Electronic Controls and Digital Services. And don't forget to subscribe to the EnVisioneering Exchange on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever it is you get your podcast. Lastly, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate, review, and share with your network. My name is John Sheff, Danfoss's Director of Public and Industry Affairs. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.